Hey, this is Dr. Berry. Let's talk for just a few minutes about which kinds of chest pain you should worry about and which kind you can get to when you get to it. Chest pain can be a very concerning symptom, and you should be concerned about it, but you don't want to be running to the emergency department for every little tweak you feel in your chest. But at the same time, and much more importantly, you don't want to stay home because you think your chest pain is no big deal. So I want to go through the different types of chest pain you might experience and when you should go to the emergency department or see your doctor. Now, if you have any doubt whatsoever, obviously call 911. And if you're having chest pain right now, why are you watching this video? Call 911, okay? Because you haven't watched this video yet, so you don't know the difference. So don't take the time to watch this video. Initiate your emergency medical services now. Okay, now, if you like videos that help you with your health and your nutrition and your diet and your lifestyle, please consider subscribing to this channel and click that little bell notification button right beside the subscribe button. So every time I get a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first to know. Now, let's talk about chest pain. So you're not wired the same in your chest that you're wired out in your fingers and toes. If I cut you right here, you're going to hurt right there. It's not like that in your chest. You can be having a severe lung problem or heart problem and just kind of hurt all over or have a vague uneasiness or pressure. You're not wired the same. And so that's why it can become so confusing with chest pain. And then also, if you have other problems like diabetes or previous heart disease, lung disease, then that even muddies the water even further. As you've probably seen in the media, women don't always have the same classic signs that most men have, not all men, but most. And so for women, also women tend to ignore things because they're trying to probably do something to take care of their man, and so they ignore themselves. And you should not do that. If you're having chest pain, you need to listen to this video, think about this, and then get emergency services or go see your doctor if you're concerned about your chest pain. Don't put that off. Okay, three types that you don't have to worry about right off the bat. First, if an exercise gets, I mean, if chest pain gets better when you exercise, then it's probably nothing to worry about. Almost no serious chest pain is going to get better when you exercise. And so if you go for a walk and that makes it better, or you do get on the rowing machine or whatever and it goes away, that's not anything to worry about. The next is if you have a pinpoint pain in the chest. Almost never is this a problem. If you can say, oh, it hurts right here or right here or right here, that's almost never a pain to be worried about. And now you may still need to see your doctor if it continues and really bothers you, but it's probably not your heart, which is what we're always worried about. If you have a pain that is a shooting pain or like an electrical shock, or it's like, oh, it was just for a second and it went from here to here or here to here or here to here. It doesn't matter from where to where. But if it's a shooting quick pain like that, that's virtually never a problem or anything to worry about. Okay, and so those are the ones. We all have those from time to time. I just had one just then. It's nothing to worry about. Don't worry about that unless it continues and gets worse. Then, of course, see your doctor. Now, let's talk about the types of chest pain you should worry about. And these can be a big deal. These can be life enders. And so you have to take these seriously. Yes, even you women who are busy trying to do chores for your whatever, you got to take these things seriously. These are not something you can ignore safely. So if you have chest pain with shortness of breath, and so any chest pain, you're like, yeah, I'm also out of breath. Or, usually I can take this flight of stairs and it's no big deal, but now I have this discomfort, this pressure, and I'm more short of breath now. Immediate, you got to go see the doctor. That could be bad. That could be your heart or some heart lung combination. Don't wait, see your doctor. Next is if you have chest pain that you also have swelling in your ankles, in your feet, in your legs. It's like, I don't know. My chest has been even vaguely uncomfortable, and I have all this swelling in my feet now. Immediate. Go to the doctor right now. That's heart until proven otherwise. And so, chest pain with shortness of breath or chest pain with new swelling in your feet and ankles and legs, all bets are off. Go to the emergency department and get checked out. Okay. Now, what if it just the chest pain typically that we worry about? is if you have a squeezing pain or a pressure, like an elephant sitting on my chest, or it feels like somebody's got me in a bear hug and I can't get a deep breath and I really feel pressure and tightness in my chest. That's the classic angina chest pain that doctors worry about. Don't hesitate. Go see the doctor right then if you have that tightness or that pressure. And that's kind of the universal sign of this, like, I don't know, it feels like something. Go to the emergency room. You need to see a doctor for that. And it may turn out not to be your heart, but for that kind of pain, you're a dummy if you don't go to the emergency department, okay? And now let me tell you this. You may not know this about me, but for the first few years of my practice, I was an emergency room physician. I took care of all comers at the local emergency room. And so I was the guy. And so never feel like you're going to inconvenience the emergency department staff, the doctor there, or you're going to embarrass yourself. If you are of appropriate age and you haven't been here 12 times and you're 12 years old, we're not going to be upset with you if you come to the emergency department with chest pain. Now, I don't work in the emergency department anymore, but I can tell you from my experience, never did we get upset with somebody who came to the emergency department with chest pain of any kind, because we know that's very scary and we know that has to be ruled out, that it's not something serious. So don't worry about what the nurse is going to say or the doctor's going to think. None of that crap matters. If you're having chest pain that worries you, go to the emergency department. Okay, now the next one is if the chest pain gets worse with exercise. And when I say exercise, I don't mean, running on the treadmill at full speed. I mean that if you're having chest pain, that usually you carry your little bag of groceries up one flight of steps and you don't have any problem. Now that causes chest pain. That's a problem. That's a red flag. You need to see your doctor ASAP. If you're like, yeah, I just walk across the street now and I have this pressure, any chest pain that gets worse with walking, with taking a flight of steps, with exercise, that is angina or stable angina until proven otherwise. And the only way to prove otherwise is to go see the emergency physician or your regular doctor ASAP and get that checked out. And so we already talked about the aching and the crampy, deep kind of pain. Chest pain that can kill you almost never is a sharp, shooty pain or just a sharp, short-term pain. It's a deep, visceral ache. And so that's the kind of pain that you should really be worried about. Now, with the two exceptions, one is if you're a diabetic, all bets are off, because one of the things that diabetes does is it causes neuropathy. And now diabetics know what neuropathy in their feet feels like. It's that numb, tingly, ant crawling up your sock discomfort. But you can also have neuropathy in these nerves as well. And so you might very well not have any of the classic Fred Sanford, oh, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. You might not have any of that at all. And I'll tell you one example. Years ago, working in the emergency department, I had a little lady come in who was a severe uncontrolled diabetic, and she came in because she couldn't stop throwing up. She had severe nausea and vomiting. That was her only symptom. And she wound up having a massive heart attack, and we didn't save her. And so she had waited hours before she came in. But if she had known that as a diabetic, if you have any discomfort from your nose to your navel, all the way out to your fingers, anything from the nose to the navel, if you have discomfort and you're a diabetic, especially an uncontrolled diabetic or a newly diagnosed diabetic, a diabetic who's not eating the ketogenic way of eating, you got to go to the emergency department to make sure that's okay. And so just remember my little lady that came in with nausea and vomiting and now is no longer with us because of the severe heart attack she was having. The other group or class of people who really all bets are off if you have discomfort between the nose and the navel is women. Women don't have that classic middle of the chest, substernal chest pain. Women can have shoulder pain, they can have upper belly pain, they can have any of these kinds of pains, and it'd be a heart attack. And that doesn't mean every pain you have is a heart attack. It just means that you can have weird pains. And I'll tell you a story from the emergency department. I had a sweet little lady come in late one night. She couldn't sleep because her shoulder was killing her. And she was a very stoic lady. She was not a complainer at all. She'd never been to the emergency department before. And so she had no injury to her shoulder, but she so convinced me that she had a rotator cuff problem in her shoulder that I actually injected her shoulder to try to give her some relief so she could go home and get some sleep. And after 20 minutes, she said, "No, it's no better. It's still killing me." At that point, I, as a young ER physician, said, maybe we should get a chest x-ray on this lady. She was having a heart attack. And so thankfully, we didn't dally too long, and we were able to get her to the cardiologist, and she's still with us today. But as a young ER doc, I missed it. She totally convinced me that it was her shoulder. And actually, when I first suggested an EKG, she said, "Oh, I don't need that. It's not my heart, it's my shoulder." But it was her heart. And so, ladies out there, if you have any discomfort between your nose and your navel that bothers you, you need an EKG. You need to go see your doctor. You need to go to the emergency department if it's severe enough to make sure you don't have a heart problem. So that's really chest pain in a nutshell. I hope this has helped, but let me end this video again by saying if you're having any discomfort in your chest that's getting worse, that you're not sure what's going on, you need to go see your doctor, okay? I personally suffered from reflux for years, and I can tell you personally, it is very, very severe. And remember how I talked about we're not wired the same in our chest as we are in our fingers? It can hurt here, and it can be several different things. But if it's hurting here, then it's severe. You need to see your doctor because you need something diagnosed, okay? Now, if you enjoyed this video and you think that you know someone who might enjoy this, please share this video. You can really help me to help lots of other people by sharing this video on any of your social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. That helps me help lots of other people. All right. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.